opportunity to speak with Pallab Banerjee, Managing Director at Pearl Global, to give us a sense as to what the impact is. And Pallab also give us a sense as to uh, how prolonged, as prolonged as this gets, does the pain just keep going up, or is a bulk of the pain behind us, and have you and some of the other textile companies really shifted in terms or adapted in terms of the new normal?
Yeah, thank you for having me on the show.
Great having you.
Yes, with this tariff thing now, it's almost like 6 months we have crossed in this discussion. For US as a market, like India had about $5.5 billion of apparel exports, apart from other textile and home that we are exporting to that country. So that's most of the players, they continued the business and took the hit. That means the tariff burden which came to the customers or the buyers of ours, that was shared by us, the players in India. Now, that has a time limit because the tariff is so high. That means to share that 25% penalty also, it's equivalent to almost about 15, 16% of discount on the price that we get. So that is the cost like which most of our players have been sharing with the US customers. I think that's the pain. I think it's not sustainable for a long term. Yes, for the long term, most of us are looking for a diversified market. That means the other, global markets where we can sell our products. So that's being the ongoing thing. So this short term, that means these 2 or 3 quarters, still that particular business really compensates the kind of volume that was coming from US. That's the challenge that we are going through. The second part is US is a developed market, and the price point to the volume that you get from US as a large size of a market was significant. So any other market that we have are not as consolidated as US. Even European Union, like ultimately there are many countries in the European Union. So the orders are comparatively fragmented, or the order size and the ease of doing business and the kind of price point that you get compared to US is something like that India has to deal with.
Okay, so that's the take coming in. We also have Mr. R.K. Vich, the President Emeritus at the Textile Association and Secretary General of the Polyester Textile Apparel Industry, joining us on the show to also weigh in on what the overall industry sentiment is around these fresh comments that we're hearing from Trump. Mr. Vich, morning. Indian exports to the United States have fallen about 28% between May and October of last year. What, according to you, is going to be the impact of these 500% tariffs if they are to be implemented, given that the existing tariff situation is already slightly elevated between India and the US?
Actually, after the USA put 50% tariff earlier, and over about textile export mostly was the cotton, about 12 billion US dollar, means 1 billion US dollar every month. So from the last 3-4 months, of course, in the month of November, our export has increased because whatever the textile garment fabric was in the pipeline. So out of the difference was about 25 percent was there, 20 to 25% difference was there. So on that 15 to 20% we were bearing the cost, and some of the 10 to 15% US customer were bearing the cost. But this will not go much now with the so much tariff on that. We will not be able to export to USA anything because earlier also we were in at loss. Now we are looking after the new market after this FTA once it come, but it will also takes time. So whatever export is going at present to USA, that will also stop immediately.
Okay, so that's the view coming in. Pallab, if I can ask you in particular, how are your customers responding to this? Of course, you suggested that a bulk of it has been settled by you, which is the manufacturer. But whatever is being settled by the customer, are they onward passing it through to their customers in the US, or how is it playing out? Give us a sense of that.
See, US as a market, consumer market, and the consumer confidence has been not impacted by the tariff. If you see the numbers, most of the retailers are experiencing good sales. So naturally, most of the retailers also have not passed this full tariff impact to the customers. Absolutely, at the at the bulk end, like the big players like Walmart and all have passed part of it. But in general, what we have seen is that they have done it much more surgically. So where they think that they can get a price increase and still be able to sell the goods, they are doing that. Otherwise, in general, they are not passing it out. So either the US retailers is partly absorbing this cost, and most of it is they are trying to negotiate with the players. Now, US imports from all across the globe. What is happening is that between India and the other countries, there is a 30% difference at this point of time, because most of the other countries have been added a 20% tariff at an average, 19 or 20%, the apparel manufacturers. And for India, it has added to about 50%. So that this 30% difference or the 25% penalty, which is the big impact, part of it. So that is something like which is being negotiated, and definitely the players are bearing quite a lot of it. Now, for Pearl Global, we are a diversified manufacturing base. We manufacture across 5 different countries like India, Bangladesh, Indonesia, Vietnam, and Guatemala. So most of the customers have come back to us and says that, okay, the US portion of the goods to be manufactured in other countries, preferably. And if we do it out of India, then we give that kind of discounts so that they don't get impact of this tariff. So that's in general what is happening with us in particular. But many other players who are only supplying from India, that's a big impact.
Pallab, how exactly are you protecting your margins in this environment? Because at least in the November con call, you still seem confident that you'll protect margins. So I'm trying to get a sense as to how you're managing that.
See, as I said, we were almost about 70% of our production manufacturing, if I talk about at a top line level, is happening outside of India. So that is not impacted. In fact, we are experiencing a good growth in that particular business. India is a portion which, because of this tariff impact from the US portion, almost 50% of our goods from India was going into US. So that part is impacted. We have to replace that part of the business with some other business from other diversified market compared to US. So that's what we are undergoing. We have opened up even the domestic supplies to the big brands and the retailers of India as well. So yes, what we'll see in India portion, which used to be about 25-30% of our total top line, may get reduced in the short run, because all other markets are growing, whereas India is at this point of time depressed. So that ratio may become 80-20, or let's see how it ends up this year. So naturally, that gives me the confidence of the margin and our top line growth being at Pearl.
Okay, so appreciate that outlook coming in. Mr. Vij, coming to you, talk to us about what is the industry sentiment right now? How much tariff are we expecting, and how has the industry reacted to the competitive disadvantage vis-a-vis our counterparts like Bangladesh and Vietnam, who are also textile producers at large, but they have faced lower duties or lower tariffs compared to us. So what is the sentiment right now around this?
No, that the USA tariff was 50%, whereas the other countries' USA tariff was around 20 to 25%. So we were higher by 25%, and we were expecting that US also needs help from India, and India also need help from USA. So we were expecting this over tariff will also come to the, if not less than 5 to 10% other countries, but at least at the same level of other countries, maybe 20-25%, because other countries are getting this 20-25% tariff, and Bangladesh has another advantage of LDC, being LDC country, that may be over in 2026. But we were expecting 25% tariff on India also.
All right, Mr. Vij as well as Pallab, thank you so much for joining us this morning and giving us that perspective, excuse me, with regard to all that's playing out